Everyone, and welcome back to more political chatter. In this video, we will be talking about the 2024 Republican presidential primary. This is my current prediction for the 2024 Republican primary in a four-candidate scenario. A very simple scenario. There will likely be a lot more than four candidates running if we're counting, not just the four main ones, but in a simple primary scenario, with maybe like the candidates that drop out after Iowa and New Hampshire, like Mike Pompeo, Francis Suarez, Asa Hutchinson, whoever it may be. These are the four that will really have some sort of an impact. Maybe Haley and Hogan don't make it past Iowa or New Hampshire, but I do think they will. I think that Haley will make it at least to South Carolina, and I think that Hogan would stick with it, stick through it after Super Tuesday, just to get some delegates to stop Trump, because he would be a lot into that. But anyway, let's get started. And I know in my election night I made like Haley win South Carolina, Hogan win Pennsylvania. That probably wouldn't happen. I was just doing that for entertainment purposes. You guys have to realize that. And it was really fun to make other candidates win. I hope you enjoyed that. So those probably don't happen, but we'll get to them. And you can't win a primary without you don't get any delegates without at least 15% of the vote. So I don't know what I'll do there, but I'll just show you guys the percentages, and then I will do. I'll switch it to the delegate, because this site doesn't do that 15% rule. So in Iowa, I do believe that Donald Trump would win. Trump is red, DeSantis is yellow, Haley is blue, Hogan is green. So I do think that Trump would win in Iowa. He would probably win at least 52% of the vote, or at least 50% of the vote, I should say. It's not going to be a complete blowout. I think that DeSantis would probably win around 4 in 10 votes. And then Hogan does not do well, and then Haley does all right. So this, I do believe, would be the vote tally, 52 to 40 to 5 to 2.5. However, you can't win any delegates without at least 15%, so Hogan, Haley go down to that. Trump wins 2 more, DeSantis wins 1 more. So Trump wins 23, DeSantis wins 7. In New Hampshire, I think that DeSantis would win. First of all, I do believe that Hogan would win at least 15%. This is the closest to 15%. He would do all right in the state of New Hampshire. Really, all of Haley's votes would be going to Hogan, so I don't even see it cracking 5%. And then Trump doesn't win the rest, I guess. Trump would win, 36, and DeSantis would win 45. It certainly wouldn't be a blowout. So probably like a 9-point win for DeSantis there. But DeSantis wins the state of New Hampshire. That's his first big win. Really gets him into the race. So Nevada and South Carolina are held on the same day. Haley and Hogan wouldn't do that well in Nevada. Hogan might be out of it by now. Probably not, though. I would say that he lasts a while, because he wants to gather as many delegates as he can for Super Tuesday. But anyway, going to Nevada, everyone thinks that in every prediction I have seen, they give Trump a win in Nevada. But it's a Sunbelt state. Many Hispanic Republican voters, I think that DeSantis would win here. Of course, it is a narrow win. I would say a 4-point win for DeSantis in the Nevada caucus. In South Carolina, look, Haley does well. And by the way, I know that a lot of these states do a winner-take-all system, like Florida, and I think South Carolina does it too. But I'm not going to do that right now, because I haven't researched, and the site doesn't do that. I wish this site just used that, the winner-take-all, they changed it. But anyway, Hogan doesn't get any delegates, and then honestly, DeSantis probably does take a win over Haley. But I would say that this is fair. 36% for Haley, 48% for DeSantis, 16% for Trump. I think it would be along those lines. But if we're being realistic, DeSantis does probably win South Carolina, not Nikki Haley, like I said in my election night. So after losing South Carolina, Haley does drop out of the race, but I will. So I'm not going to give her any more delegates following this because I do believe that this would be the point where she drops out and she endorses DeSantis. Okay, I will make that clear. She definitely endorses DeSantis. I will keep her on here, however, saying that we have to remember she wins 18 delegates going into the convention. Hogan is probably still in the race. So now, I don't know which states are on Super Tuesday, so let's just do the rest. So, we have, like, the momentum for DeSantis here. He wins 3 states, Trump wins 1 in the 4 early states. So DeSantis has the momentum coming into Super Tuesday, and also DeSantis has a lead on the delegate count. In Washington, DeSantis, this one would be a close one. I would say this would probably be around an 8-point race for DeSantis. Hogan, I'm not even, like, going to do Hogan because, like, he won't win more than 15% in any of these states. We have to remember that. So I'll just make Hogan stay until the convention. In Oregon, DeSantis definitely wins. There's, like, a substantial margin, but he definitely does well in Oregon as the Republicans are more on the moderate side. Just look at who they nominated for governor this year. In California, I do believe that Trump would win. It would be close, though. A 9-point win for Trump here in California. 172 delegates at stake. But yeah, I think that Trump wins here. I think that in the very Democratic states, Trump might have the edge, especially in these very much populated states like California. DeSantis would perform well here, but I don't know. There's something about these Republicans here in California. Looking at who they nominated this year for governor, for Senate, all that. I think that these are the type of Republicans, these more liberal-minded Republicans, honestly, that I do believe would go to Trump, even though Trump is not liberal at all. Let's do the islands. American Samoa. DeSantis really does carry all these. They do a lot of these places, I believe American Samoa, they don't even hold a popular vote. They just like throw all of their delegates at one person, but I won't do that right now. Guam, DeSantis will carry these. Guam maybe a little closer. Northern Mariana Islands, DeSantis, boom. Virgin Islands would probably be like 88 to 11. Puerto Rico, now we have like a normal amount of delegates here. DeSantis does win quite handily. Alaska, DeSantis wins. Alaska Republicans are more moderate than most, but it wouldn't be a blowout. And then Hawaii, DeSantis wins by a pretty large margin, like that. And then Arizona, DeSantis does win. It would be a wide margin for DeSantis here. Hogan could get over 15% here. He could. It's possible. Should I make him? No. Because most of the Hogan voters will be going to DeSantis. If it was Trump versus Hogan, Hogan would win. But yeah. Because, you guys know, moderate Republicans, so many switched to a vote for Joe Biden in 2020. It cost Trump the election there. In Utah, of course, DeSantis wins by a heavy margin, 70 to 30. It is. The Republicans are very traditional. As you know, they did not like Trump in the 2016 primary. But I do believe that DeSantis very narrowly pulls off a win in Idaho. I think that this would be a very small win, but I do believe that he would take it, as in my election night. New Mexico, DeSantis does win. Another kind of small win, a 9-point win for DeSantis there. Colorado, I know it's like a DeSantis sweep right now. I'm so sorry about this, but I really do think it would be in the western part of the country. This would, be a good margin for DeSantis, 64 to 35. Again, these are all the states that went to Cruz in the 2016 primary. We do have to remember that. In Wyoming, I do believe that Trump would win. Sure, a lot of these Midwestern states voted for Cruz in the 2016 primary, but Cruz did have that rural appeal. Ron DeSantis does not have nearly as much rural appeal as Ted Cruz did have in these Midwestern states. So I do think that Trump would win in a lot of these Midwestern states. Montana, not so much. A lot of moderate Republicans here, 10-point win for DeSantis. Going into North Dakota, a state that Cruz was able to win, I think it would go to Trump by a pretty wide margin. Same with South Dakota. He just has more appeal here at the end of the day. This one would be a bit closer, 9-point win. Sorry, I reversed it. Hey, whatever, point win for DeSantis. In Nebraska is tough, but I think that Trump at the end of the day would pull out a very narrow win, 4-point win, 5-point win for Trump in Nebraska. Kansas is a DeSantis sweep. He wins the majority of delegates there. Oklahoma would probably go to Trump. For looking at it, it would be. I could see the state being a real close one though. Closer than we could think. And then Texas. So Texas, I do think would be extremely close. Don't get me wrong. However, I do believe that Trump would be able to win. I mean, you know, with the northern congressional districts all turning out in heavy numbers for Donald Trump, I think that he would have a lot more appeal in the rural parts of Texas, much more than Ron DeSantis would have. Of course, Ron DeSantis would turn out Republicans in the more populated areas, but I think that Trump pulls it out in the state of Texas. A 3-point win for Trump. I think that this one would be incredibly close, and this is my prediction for it as of now. So DeSantis does have a lead, but it is very narrow. Moving on to the state of Louisiana. In my election, I was like, I had no idea who to give this to. Louisiana, I was so stuck on. I think I gave it to Trump, but at this point, I'm thinking it's a 4-point win for DeSantis. Arkansas, you know, the Deep South, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and I mean, Louisiana is the exception here, but I think that Trump really does well. In the South, even though DeSantis is from Florida right next door, I think that Trump really does well. He'd be able to capture that rural Republican Southern base much more than DeSantis would be. Alabama would be pretty close because there are a lot of city Republicans in Alabama, but I do think Trump does still win this. In Georgia, DeSantis wins. That's another exception. Relatively close, a 10-point win for DeSantis there. And then in Florida will carry DeSantis. You know, he needs to do well in Florida if he wants the nomination. I'm thinking a 73-27 win. I mean, which Republican is not going to not vote for Ron DeSantis, you know, over Donald Trump? So I think that Florida goes to DeSantis. In North Carolina, I'm thinking North Carolina. This one's tough. North Carolina is very, very tough. But I think that it'd be a 4-point win for DeSantis. But again, very, very close. Tennessee, Trump probably wins a very narrow margin in Tennessee. This one would be like extremely close, a 3-point win. Missouri, DeSantis ekes out a win, 51-48, another 3-point win. So close. I think that DeSantis does pretty well in Kentucky. It is more on the moderate side of talking about Republicans, you know, more than others. Trump absolutely blows out the competition in West Virginia. He wins that by 50% margin. And Minnesota did go to Marco Rubio in 2016. Only state to go to Marco Rubio in 2016. Shows that Republicans are like that. So I would say that this is a DeSantis win. Illinois is a Trump win. Again, you know, these more populous Republican states, Democratic states, I'm thinking are going to go to Trump. Trump wins Illinois. Trump does win Wisconsin also. I mean, you know, the Rust Belt is where Ron DeSantis will do very poorly. You know, Trump was able to win them in the 2016 general election because he had this appeal with those white working class voters. So Wisconsin would be very, very close though. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking it goes to Trump. Michigan goes to Trump by a pretty wide margin. I'm thinking 58-41. I mean, you know, these Rust Belt states, Trump will do pretty well in. Indiana, not so much, but he still does win by 5%. And then Ohio, I think that Trump really blows it. out of competitiveness. I think that Trump would win Ohio by a wide margin, and that really puts him back in the race. 1,003 delegates to 1,056. I think that DeSantis would win the state of Virginia. Saying that it is in that southern part of the United States, that's probably a 9-point win at least for Ron DeSantis, probably more. Larry Hogan does win the state of Maryland. At the end of the day, it is his home state, and even if he doesn't have any wins anywhere else, I think that he would be able to pull it out. DeSantis wins just about 15%. This one would be very divided. I don't even know if DeSantis would. Yeah, DeSantis does crack just 15%, because he is. But most of his votes would be going to Larry Hogan, and Larry Hogan wins by about 5 in Maryland. In Delaware, Hogan does well. He wins at least 15%, so he's at 18% there. DeSantis does all right in Delaware, 25%, but I think that Trump would take the rest. That's 5-point win for Trump there. In Pennsylvania, Hogan does crack at least 15%. I'm saying he wins 18%. That's 16 delegates for Larry Hogan in Pennsylvania. DeSantis really doesn't do that well in Pennsylvania. It is a Rust Belt state. We know he doesn't do that well, and it really would be a competition between DeSantis and Trump, even with Hogan in the race. It's probably a 20-point win for Trump in Pennsylvania. I'm sorry I gave it to Hogan in my election. I was trying to just shake things up and make it more fun for you guys, so don't criticize me there too much. Hogan does very well in New Jersey, and he might win. DeSantis does win like 20%, and then the rest, Trump would win at the end of the day, with a 2-point margin over Larry Hogan. DeSantis comes in third in New Jersey. In New York, Hogan won't crack 15%, so it just is a contest between Trump and DeSantis. I think that it would be close, but that Trump would win by like 3%. But it would be so close in New York. But if Hogan wasn't in the race, DeSantis would win, because like Hogan wins like 10%. Let me do DC. DC does go to Hogan also. 52 to 15 to 31. In Connecticut, Hogan likely would win like 17 to 20%. DeSantis, I think, would carry the state of Connecticut. I mean, I live in Connecticut. Looking at the type of Republicans that live here, I think that they would happily vote for Ron DeSantis. Rhode Island is probably more of a Trump state, saying its population density and all that. But it would be a close one, 5%. Massachusetts, Hogan does well. He at least wins a quarter of the votes, if we're being honest. Hogan does very well in Massachusetts. DeSantis does all right, 26. Trump wins the rest. And oh my God, look at how close it is. So yeah, as you can see, I knew I was gonna make a video about something, but I forgot it. And it's about the convention. It'll come out later, in a day or two, or maybe today. Who knows? But it's about the 2024 Republican National Convention, because it will be so contested. Hogan wins like a quarter, 29. DeSantis wins like 17. And then Maine, Hogan will do well. You know, the Northeast, of course, Hogan will do well. But DeSantis really does very well in the state of Maine. So would you look at that? Ron DeSantis wins the primary, or wins how many more delegates than Trump? Let's see. He wins 2030. He wins 17 more delegates than Trump. Of the 2,500 something in this prediction, of course I didn't plan this out. DeSantis wins by 17. That's absolutely amazing. Of course, you need 600? Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I think it's like 1,600 something to win the nomination. So, we will be heading into a contested convention in 2024 on the Republican side, okay? It will be contested, and I will make a video about it and how no one is talking about that. 2024 will have a contested convention in Trump versus DeSantis. So thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It would mean a great deal to me. But again, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.